special guest at the game in Philadelphia today, and that's Hayden Bannock. And a lot of you guys know Hayden from the Fifth Quarter Coastal, and he does a lot of videos, especially particularly when he's at the game. Looks like he's having a little bit of an adult beverage and enjoying himself right now. Oh, that's a good old Southern beer you got there, brother.
Oh yeah.
Old PBR, you can't go wrong with.
Heck no, man.
So yeah, it sounds like y'all been having a great time up there in Philadelphia. So tell me a little bit about what's been going on with your trip so far. I know from the Sicko committee standpoint, man, you've done gone crazy this year with your travel and your hours. So I'll let you fill everybody in a little bit on that.
All right, absolutely. Well, first order of business, story about the PBR is so apparently in Pennsylvania you can't buy beer at gas stations, and that's why it took me a little bit to get to the parking lot because I didn't know that. I've been to 35 or 38 states. It's hard to remember all the weird rules, but finally found beer, so we're good. Yeah, man, crazy stories. You know, Wednesday I go to work 4 to 11:30. And I go to sleep. Essentially Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. Sleep for about 7 hours. Wake up Thursday morning at about 10:45. Walk the dog, play with my dog and everything, eat, go get food. And then I work at a sports bar from 4 p.m. till 12:30 a.m. going into Friday morning. I went home, showered, changed, grabbed my bag, took my dog, drove 3 hours to my parents' house, dropped my dog off. I actually was able to take an hour nap and then drove the rest of the way to Philly overnight. Got to Philly, explored for about 4 hours, went to a Phillies game last night, went to downtown Philly after the game. Incredible. Absolute electric factory. I mean, there's, drum lines walking, there's people dancing and twerking, there's girls dancing on cars. I mean, Philly is not a real place. I've come to that conclusion. But it definitely passed the electric factory vibe off of, like, a nap.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I saw one of your posts last week and you were talking about your timeline. And I was like, man, you better put some energy drinks in the back seat of that vehicle because you're going to need them. You're going hardcore, man. That's straight up hardcore. So I guess
Absolutely.
that qualifies you for the sicko committee as far as I'm concerned. So hopefully that'll work out for you. And of course, one thing I've also enjoyed over your posts over the times is your uniqueness in getting to these microbreweries and doing a little sample beer tasting from each one of those businesses, which is really cool, and also kind of gives you a little bit of culture that you're seeing in that area compared to what we have back here in the Conway area, around the university. So we have our new Legacy 14 products that are
Right.
out, and that's helping with our baseball team and raising money for NIL and all kinds of different opportunities there. So, in comparison to what you had in Legacy 14, what kind of beer are you finding up there in the Philly area that is something that you're enjoying?
There's been a quite a bit amount of loggers that I've had since I've been up here. I really haven't had a bad one yet. I went to a beer garden yesterday. Tried a couple there. They were great. The Phillies game. Whenever I go to stadiums and places like this, I usually pick them based off can design or like the name. So we're in Philly. I see one that's called Ring the Bell. You have to get it. You
Yeah,
have to get it. It was a light one. It was good. They also had one that was called the Slugger, and it was in Phillies colors. It had like the Phillies jersey, like pretty much style to the can. That was another good one. But compared to other colleges, Virginia Tech, Texas A&M, NC State, UNC, they all have their own lagers or light beers that is university oriented and either goes to NIL, Marshall, same way, the Heard County for Herd Country 01. But it's the same thing. It goes to the NIL money for the athletes. So I think that's a great because people will drink it. Like it cannot it can be a mid beer, but if it goes to the NIL, people will drink it.
right. Absolutely. They're going to support their teams and they're going to support their organizations that they're happy with. So I think they're turning out a great product. I haven't heard a bit of negativity about our Legacy 14 beer
Oh
here.
no.
I drank one at Hanley's one night, and I don't drink very much, and it's not because I don't like it or enjoy it. It's because of having quadruple bypass surgery a few years ago. And the medications that I'm on, I just can't hack drinking on top
Right.
of that, man. I'd be a damn zombie if you know what I mean. So it wouldn't be a good situation for me. So let me ask you this: what's your weather like there so far today? Because it's rainy and nasty here in Conway.
Oh man, it is not a cloud in sight.
No, it looks like bluebird skies there, man.
Oh
You're gonna
yeah.
have a night. You're gonna have a great football game today, and
Oh
it
yeah.
probably won't be too hot on you. At least the humidity and stuff won't probably be too bad. So you'll probably have a great game there today while we're sitting here watching it rain. But let me ask you also, what got you interested in this kind of career path that you've taken, since I've known you over a year or so ago. And, I knew you grew up in the Miami area, but what kind of let you into the sports and just you're just amazing to me, man. How you can just jump in a car, take off, go somewhere. I could do that when I was younger too, but I can't do that anymore. I got to stop at a hotel somewhere, a rest stop and sleep for a couple of hours. So anyhow, what got you into what you're doing now?
Right. So I was actually born in the Midwest, actually, and my dad coached Ben Roethlisberger in high school. So growing up as a kid, I watched Big Ben play. I watched Jerry Blevins, who was a relief pitcher for the Mets, who retired a couple years ago. He actually owns his own, I can say, a bourbon company that uses the corn from the actual Field of Dreams in Iowa. So that's super cool. But my dad being a high school coach and being around all these high school athletes, and my dad would take his players to college camps and everything. He would take them to college games. And then he would always take me to Michigan games. So growing up, I was always around the sports environment. We moved to the Carolinas, went to tons of Miami games. I went to so many Miami baseball games that the head coach and GM started recognizing me. He was like, hey, come to the dugout, be our bat boy. So from '08 to 12, I was bat boy for the Miami Hurricanes. So, I was around Trey Turner, Carlos Rodon. I met them when they were at NC State, Buster Posey, Jameis Winston. And of course, we had John Jay the year before I got there. And then we had Yasmani Grandal, Yonder Alonso, MLB All Stars, a few pitchers here and there, a couple Garcias. But growing up around it, I've always been dedicated. And what got me interested in travel is, 'cause my dad took me to a lot of games. I made a list, and I was like, man, I've already been to almost 20 stadiums. And I was like, I wonder how many stadiums I can get to. And I saw there was only like 130 at the time, and now it's 134. But I made a list, and I was like, man, it's actually realistically possible because you can go on a trip where you get 2 or 3 done in one trip, which I've done before in Utah and Florida, Georgia, and all over the country. Honestly, at this point now, and I started going into Twitter, seeing if are people already doing this, and I found a couple. I found Andrew, I found Mike, who does CFP Campus Tour, the Extractive Views. Met him a few times, and we've chatted. He's never stayed in a hotel except for like maybe once or twice, and they were both sponsored. But yeah, just seeing people do that, it got me interested, and I was like, I like being in the car, I like traveling. I see 10 hours. I don't think that's anything. I told my people, I was like, hey, I'm going to Philly. Like, anyone want to come? They're like, dude, 10 hours in a car. Nah, I'm good. And I was like, man, I'll do 11 hours in an airplane. I don't care. But I see 10 hours, and for me, that's like 30 minutes for most people.
Yeah, I mean, for me, 10 hours when I'm driving, pulling my RV, I can handle that. But and going somewhere and know ultimately that my destination's on the other end and what I'm going to enjoy. But I guess you're doing kind of the same thing along those lines. With your travel for football and baseball. Man, I know at the end of the season when we went to the regionals, and I saw you up at the regionals in Clemson and talked to you there, and you were talking about bouncing down to the ACC in Georgia and watching, or excuse me, yeah, I think y'all were going to Atlanta. Were you going to see Georgia Tech play down there? And
Yeah.
so you were running up and down the road on 85 there, and back and forth, and then you took off after that and went to every tournament left in existence,
Yep.
leading up to the World Series. And the only thing I didn't see you at was at the College World Series. So
Didn't make the World Series. Nah, didn't make that one.
yeah, that's on my bucket list. I'm definitely going to make it to Omaha one of these days. I just heard it's really cool out there, the whole city and the whole vibe and everything, the way they've redone it out there. So it's kind of cool. I haven't really paid much attention to it until since 2016 when Coastal won it, but the national
Right.
championship. So, but well, it's really I guess it's really been a good trip for you so far. You've seen some friends there that you kind of hang out around here with, and some I'll just say TV stars in the sport in the sports world that's been bringing us all the history recaps on Twitter or on X. So yeah, I know she's a great lady, and we think dearly of her, and she does a really good job. What she does too. So, hey, let me ask you a couple of questions here before we kind of wrap it up today. I know you're there to watch Coastal play football, and I know you want them to win as much as all the rest of us back here at home do that can't be there at the game. And we'll be watching it on ESPN Plus. But what is your expectations or your thoughts on what you would like to see Coastal do today in this game against Temple?
There's a couple things, no offense to Temple or anything like that, but everyone knows that Temple is not good at football. Proven fact. But now what I want to see is, two things. I want to see two things today. One, actually, it's something I don't want to see. I don't want to see Coastal come out flat. They didn't get here until 4:30 yesterday. They haven't done a walkthrough. They're not doing a walkthrough. The first time they see the stadium is when they come out for warm-ups. So I already don't like that. I don't like traveling, a good distance. I thought they were coming on Thursday. That we have Friday to adjust. They don't really have an adjust period, to traveling. And, most times I think teams fly up on Thursdays. Friday is their adjust period to do walkthroughs, whether it's in the hotel, on the field. So I don't want to see Coastal come out flat because of that, and because it's Temple, it's gonna be a cakewalk. The other thing is I want to see a better second half team. We lost the second half to William and Mary. I don't see us making any adjustments or adjusting to other teams' adjustments. So I want to see us win a second half. I would like to see this one be in dominant fashion because it should be. I like seeing stuff done that should be done. I don't want to give Philly a chance, or Temple, I'm sorry, give Temple a chance, being late in the third quarter going into the fourth, because
Right.
if you give them a chance, this is a team that, if they're only down by 7, they see like, hey, this would be a chance for, one of their few wins. So
Yeah, and it would definitely be an upset for them. I mean, coming off an 0-2 start and just getting shellacked by Oklahoma, and then and that's that kind of pro style offense, at Oklahoma, and it's a run and shoot, and they're then they get Navy the next week, and Navy's just the opposite of that. Navy's going to be like what we saw in Army last year,
right.
and we just could not defend that option run. We just could not do it. So they're going to see a different offense today. I think what I saw in that game last week, and we were down on the sidelines, and I was in the press booth after that, and what I saw in that game was kind of Vasco seemed to struggle a lot in that game, and
We did.
I'm hoping he's getting dialed back in better, because people were like, well, why don't they put Noah Kim in and give him a little bit of an opportunity and see what he can do with this offense? But I think Tim Beck, he gets his heart set on a quarterback, and that quarterback he's going to stay with until they change his mind. And so, he wants to give Vasco as much playing time as he can. He certainly earned it from last year. And,
Right.
I think he just needs some confidence. He just seems like right now he's just lacking a little bit of confidence out there. Maybe he's confused with the defenses that they've seen so far. I'm not sure, but I think he needs to kind of step it up a little bit today. I think our receiving squad, they also need to. They've had a lot of drop balls, and of course, last week against William and Mary, those DBs just every time the ball went in the air, they pulled them down to the ground. The offensive receiver, so. Yeah, I mean, they couldn't keep up with them. So I just think we need to use what we're strong at. Coach Beck does a great job in a press conference because he says a whole lot, but he never says anything that's specific to you being able to pick too many points out of it unless you can read between the lines, because the man is a wordsmith, and he can definitely, he can tell you that Temple is as strong as, let's say Texas right now,
Right.
or
Right.
somebody like that. And, talking about, well, they've got, the best third down percentage in the country. Well, if they've got the best third down percentage for holding their opponents, then that's great. But, if that's the only statistic you can be up there in, then, you got a lot of work to do, from a team standpoint. So, um, yeah, I think they need to do that. I mean, our total yards per game, just to give you an idea on that, we're at 504, which is first in the rushing in the Sun Belt and 18th overall in the nation. So that's pretty good. I mean, in a two-game average, they're 254 yards, and they're way up there. I mean, they're 13th in their conference. And when I saw somebody post the other day the standings for that conference, and they had Temple dead last, I was like, what is all this hype about Temple? I know they're football players and they're going out there on the field and their objective is to play a football game to win it. But man, why are they hyping this team so much? Statistically, they look horrible. And
Yes.
so, I just hope we don't, like you said, look too much into this game and or look ahead, I guess I should say, to Virginia. That's my biggest fear.
Right.
They're going to get lax like you were talking about and not focus on this game in hand, winning this game, and then working on Virginia, coming back home to them. So that's kind of my take's been very similar to yours on that as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, can't come out flat, and I mean, they're still Division One athletes.
Yep.
So I mean, they're not bad ball players by any means.
No, and they're going to play hard and they're going to give it every bit of their effort. I mean, they come there to lose. So, I'm looking at some people, I mean, I think we got one of the best offensive lines perhaps in the country. And one of the things that's really unique about that is those guys that are up front, you got a left tackle, a left guard, a center, and a right guard, and a tackle up there that all of them are at 300 plus pounds.
Right.
And man, there's no reason that Vasco can't complain about not having enough time because they can form a better pocket than I think some NFL teams do. When you watch on the replays of them, they're amazing, man. So, I think we need to give props to the offensive line, and they're doing a great job. I think Kendall Carr, tight end for Coastal, I think he needs to get more involved in the offense.
He does. He does.
Along with Ethan Vasco and Braden Bennett. I'm not sure about Braden Bennett. It looked like to me he got injured against William and Mary, and he came out of the game. And, he's had a lot of injuries in his career. So Coach never talks about injuries and never talks about injured players in any of his live show on Tuesday night or on his press conferences during the week. So I don't know what the status with him is, but we know for sure Christian Washington picked up the slack last week.
Oh, yeah.
Being a 100-yard rusher, so he did a great job in it. And, I look at the Black Swarm as being, just absolutely dominant in this game. I am so excited to see our defense. I think, what are we right now? I'm not sure. I'm going to guess we're probably +4, maybe +5 on that defense on turnovers, takeaways. So we're definitely in the plus on it. So, they're doing the right things out there on the field. We've just got to continue to move in the right direction, I think, for that. Coastal has outscored their opponents in every quarter except for the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And there's a 7-point, difference there in that fourth quarter. So, those are kind of interesting statistics. That's giving you an indication that they get out to a fast start like you were talking about, but then they kind of tail off there in the second half, particularly in the fourth quarter. So we got to finish. I guess that's the right word, right? Your coaches say, you got to finish. You got to finish this game. You got to play hard till the buzzer ring or buzzes, fat lady sings, whatever you want to call it. So, what's your take on so far on the offense and defense, and even special teams are doing great. Liam Graham's solid, he's good, and this new Australian kicker we got, I can't pronounce his name. I don't care. I've tried to. It's syllabized. I can't pronounce his name. I just call him our punter.
Yeah.
He's doing a great job too, man. I mean, his average is good, and he's really doing well. So, fill me in on what you think.
Yeah. So me being a kicker, I love field goals. Field goals excite me. However, we can't kick 5 field goals against FCS team. That was brutal. Can't do that against Virginia, App State, James Madison. You want to win those games. But at least, Cade Hensley is fairly reliable. I mean, he's looked great. He had the
Yep.
one miss last week. He's looked phenomenal. Liam Gray on kickoffs, beautiful. I mean, everything is a touchback except for like one that went out of bounds. Offense looks great. Offensive line graded at a 90% last week. I don't think they even allowed a sack. Washington, who is listed as the fourth-string running back, 100 yards rushing. If he's fourth-string getting 100 yards, I mean, either A, he's really good, or B, the offense line is really good, and anyone can run through those holes. But no, Washington's
he
athletic, man.
or he wants to play really bad.
Yeah,
he's
or
trying to earn a
both,
spot.
or both.
Yeah, he's trying to move up.
And defense is great too. A couple scoops and scores. The cloak and sword. I've seen that come out a good bit. The last 2 weeks. So I mean, overall, playing pretty sound football.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you totally. I think we need to do a little bit better, like you mentioned a couple of seconds ago, a few minutes ago. Excuse me. Was we need to do a little bit better in the red zone. We need to capitalize in that red zone, and we need to run stunts or whatever we need to run down there, RPOs or whatever we need to do to get the ball in the end zone. When you got backs like you're talking about, that are four stringers that are running for 100+ yards in a game, and you got a quarterback that has an arm that's capable of throwing. He averages a 20-yard throw per games that he's played in so far. So he's not the kind of guy that's necessarily going to explode down there for like I saw the quarterback for that played for Florida that's with the Colts. Drop back and Richardson throw a 65-yard ball, man, in the air was amazing last Sunday. So you're not going to see that from Basco, but Basco's smart enough to know that he can pull that ball down and run with it if he wants to. He's got the legs. So
right.
I mean, we've got so many options down in there. Use Carr down there in that tight end position. When you get down in that red zone, let him work across the middle and then run something towards the posts or the corners of the end zone or whatever you want to do. But we've got to do something. So we need to work some in that red zone, and then I think we'll be doing really well.
And Carr had no touches last week, so that's one thing I don't want to see happen again here in Philly. I want to see Carr have a big game.
Yeah, he had an incompletion right in front of me when I was standing on the sideline. I mean, I had the monopod up in front, and I got a really good picture of him, right in front of me. Looked like he was just going to pull it in and, toe tap right on the sideline, and it would have been pretty close to a first down. Might have been a first down, but he dropped it, like you said.
Right.
So, that's not usual for him. Even when he played at North Carolina, he had, the opportunity to be a pretty decent receiver there, and certainly had the quarterbacks. The last two are in the pros right now. So, that's kind of, you expect a little bit more out of him and his leadership but he's doing a great job, man. I mean, I don't see any negativity on any of our players for Coastal. I think they're phenomenal. I think they've got a phenomenal coaching staff, Trickett on offense, Navier on defense, and then all the other coaches that are working with, different players and different segments of the team. They've just got an amazing thing going right now. And I don't know, man, I just feel it. It kind of feels like back in the, 2000 era, or something. It's like, you got players here that are just, it's like they plugged them into these spots and they just took off. It's like they gelled that quick. And either that or we were just snookered in the offseason by Tim Beck. I don't know. He just doesn't talk much. And when he does, he has a lot to say with that wordsmithing, but he doesn't really tell you anything. So I guess that's a sign of being a good head coach. So
broke his leg and everything.
Well,
he couldn't the team or nothing.
I will let you. I'll let you go and get ready see this game, and we'll be pulling for you guys that are there and cheering hard and hoping that the Shots bring a big dub home today and go 3-0 coming back to Virginia to a sold-out Brooks Stadium next
Can't wait for
Saturday.
it.
Yeah, I can't either, man. I'm just so fired up about it. And being on the sideline for that game, I just can't wait. So, Hayden, I want to thank you so much for being a guest and for doing this for us and doing it for the Teal Roost podcast and for yours as well. And, it's just been a wonderful time having you as a guest here. And look forward to you coming back and continuing to do this. I would love to do this if you're going to try to hit every stadium this season or every other stadium or what your plans are. But I'd love to do this, man. I think the Coastal fans love it too. We don't see anything until a ball game comes on. And,
Right.
you've got two announcers that are telling you all about the two teams, and you don't really see the, what's happening there. But I did want to point out one thing before I left, something that you said earlier kind of stirred my thought process. And that's, you said that they didn't do any walkthrough on the stadium. And I know that, there are a little bit of differences for our audience out here in a pro stadium marking versus a college football stadium marking. The numbers are different, and there's a difference in, I'm not sure
The
how
tick
many
marks.
inches the tick marks. So there is a difference in, I know that Coach Beck talked about that in his Tuesday radio show, but, I think maybe he just doesn't want them to maybe just doesn't want, or to get that panic feeling, going out there before it's time to go out there and just go out there and do what they're, programmed to do. So, man, I really thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of that PBR and maybe have a couple more today. And I don't know when you're coming back home, but your journey back home, I hope it's safe. And just thank you for everything, man, you've done for us today.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's about time to start calling people, see when they're at, because the party's starting to pick up, man. We got tons of cornhole, beer pong, and beer dice. We got a DJ booth. We got a tiki booth set up over here, too. So it's time to go party, man.
I'm telling you, I'm so jealous. I wish I was there right now, but I appreciate you bringing this to us and telling us about all the good that's happening up there in Philly today.
Awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Take care, brother, and I will see you soon.
See you, man.
I think Hayden's out of the room now, and I'm just going to wrap this up by thanking everybody for tuning in today. This was our first inaugural live broadcast and streaming broadcast, and we are so excited about this opportunity. I think this is the future in podcasts, and I'm just a greenhorn, but I'm trying to learn and pray that you have patience for me, and we'll see you soon, sometime this coming week. And we will be bringing you action next Saturday at the Virginia game as well. And hope that you have a great week, Teal Nation, and a great weekend. And let's go Shots. Shots up.